Hey, peace and black power family. This is Jade Arundel, aka Lioness Crowned, your revolutionary, unapologetically black African host, right here at FlyNubianQueen.com, the network for melanated women like you. We are live and direct today, and we have to have a serious conversation. As you're coming into the live stream, make sure you hit that like button. Also, let me know exactly where you're tuning in from around the country. You have just entered into a brave space. This is the Lioness Den right here at FlyNubianQueenTV.com every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, normally at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, yesterday, as you can see, I did not go live on our channel because we had other things to tend to, right? So make sure you are coming in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. And definitely make sure that you text the word Queens to 31996. That's Queens with an S to 31996. All right. So basically, we are going to talk to our brother. We have our brother here. Our brother, Anthony Beckford, he's a candidate. He's running for city council for the 42nd Assembly District, I think. He'll correct me if I'm wrong when he comes in Brooklyn, New York. He is a community advocate. He is the head of Cop Watch of Brooklyn, New York. And he's also one of the founders and like the president of a Black Lives Matter faction, not the corporate sponsored, Black Lives Matter chapter up there, but he is a part of that. He has been on the front lines, and he is a parent. He's also a Marine Corps veteran. This is a brother that has come on and talked about a lot of the police brutality in terms of them enforcing social distancing regulations in Brooklyn. And I wanted to know his thoughts on whether black children should be attending these protests, these anti-black war protests. All right. So that is a topic for today. I see that we've probably been shadow banned, which is okay. The enemy's going to do what they do. But we wanted to get this message out to parents because there has been a lot of anxiety and a lot of questions about this coming up. Like, should I bring my child to a protest? They want to go, or some children, young people, I should say, or young adults are of age and are 18 or in their early teens, and there's a lot of anxiety around this. So I basically wanted to get the word out, and I still want to welcome you into the Lioness Den every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, normally right here at FlyNubianQueenTV.com. That's FlyNubianQueenTV.com. Okay, so I'm going to ask my brother, Anthony Beckford, to unmute himself, and I am going to make sure I pause the YouTube stream so we don't get any echo. Anthony, are you there?
I am here.
All right. How are you today, brother?
I'm surviving, but my focus is winning this battle so we can live.
Yeah, winning this battle so we can live. So you're in New York. Tell me a little bit about what it's like on the ground there. I'm seeing a lot of viral videos about NYPD they're just wilding.
Yeah, it's a full-out war out here. It's always been a war against our bodies. But the thing is that we've been losing because we really haven't been that organized in throughout our community. And when I say community, I mean throughout all of our Black community throughout the U.S. and so forth. Because, just because we're separated by political districts and separated by, state lines does not mean that's not community. But now the people have come together. Too bad it does take martyrs, like the brother George Floyd and many others, before him, who basically have their lives, taken by the murderous police fractions and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad it takes them in order for us to be able to get to this point. But I think now at this point that we're at, it's the tipping scale, and this is going to be a consistency, which is good, because the last time I seen something like this was Eric Gardner. Everything else after that, people came and gone. It was quick actions, really not much noise or organizational tactics being put into place. This time, everybody came out, everybody's ready, and we're gonna fight.
Okay, thank you. Now, we're seeing egregious acts like we saw a SUV full of NYPD, running, bulldozing their way through a crowd to run people over. And then there has been reportedly a leaked audio of someone in NYPD telling them to brutalize and mow protesters over. Can you comment on that, please?
Yeah, so that video that was actually down the block from where I was. We called it the Battle of Church Avenue. It was crazy because they even called in counterterrorism units against the protesters. And people need to really understand, especially some of our own people who've been critiquing the protesters. The peaceful is on many levels, okay? And they need to stop going by what, these white nationalists have conditioned our people in the education system to think about even MLK's peaceful. The peaceful that they've been conditioning us with is Gandhi's pacifism, and we all know that Gandhi was a pedophile and a racist himself.
Yes.
MLK's peaceful activism was, I will not initiate this act of violence, but I will protect myself if you initiate this act of violence. Which still fell in line also with how Malcolm was, which is why Coretta Scott King facilitated it with, the meeting between them two. But when we're out here, we're not out here saying, we're going to destroy our own community. No, that doesn't happen. We don't do that. What happens is that you have the NYPD provoking people. And matter of fact, law enforcement throughout this country right now are provoking protesters. You see the issue with the SUV where they try to run the people over. And we're talking about, black people, and we're talking about those who come to support the movement as well, too, to make sure that, we move forward and get our demands met. And as you can see, our Mayor de Blasio, he decided that he wanted to explain that away.
Yes. It seems like our brother, Anthony, I think you may be muted or... okay, say what you just said again, because we lost you just for a hot second. Just repeat your last statement, please.
Okay. I was saying that then we have people like de Blasio, the mayor of New York City, who basically condoned the actions of these police terrorists who have been terrorizing our communities. These are domestic terrorists with a badge and a gun. Who get a $5.8 billion militarized budget to terrorize our people, to try to silence us, to try to keep us docile, to brutalize us if we dare challenge authority that is, there's a tyranny over us, because there was that incident. Then there's the audio that leaked from a protest that was going on in Albany and Dean here in Brooklyn. And the officers were saying, yeah, we should mow them down. Another officer said, yo, just shoot them. And then somebody got over the air and says, hey, don't say that over the air. This isn't the first time we've heard this. This isn't the first time it's been leaked. There are many organizations, many cop watchers out there who have been leaking information like this because this is what goes on. The general public doesn't hear it because they're not monitoring the systems like we do. But we hear it and it gets exposed. Same way even yesterday, you seen, the police, they were even brutalizing black elected officials.
I saw that. I saw my assemblywoman.
Now this is their awakening of the.
Yeah, pause for a second. I saw the video of my assemblywoman, and shout out to her. I've shouted her out before. Assemblywoman Diana C. Richardson out of Brooklyn. She was pepper sprayed in the face for peacefully protesting, and she said that some female cops put their dukes up, was trying to fight her. This is absolutely insane.
Yeah, so it was her and the Senator General Miley that got attacked by the Barclays Center. I literally plowed through two rows of officers, and chewed out a police chief of Brooklyn North just to de-arrest Myrie and so forth. Like, these are the things. But see, what though? A lot of our black electeds do need an awakening moment. They need to realize that no matter their status, no matter how much money they make, no matter the little bit of privilege that they are given, they are still black. And they must align with the people at all times. I don't care who's putting money into your coffer. It is the people are the ones that you work for. And, and if a lot of them were doing their jobs, there wouldn't be need for advocates and, street soldiers like myself out here to lead the people and to keep on getting things done. So, we're dealing with many levels of this, and the brutality has always been there. It's just that it's been highlighted even more. But then because of, this whole pandemic scenario, because of, the now implemented curfew, the NYPD now is being utilizing that to further escalate and escalate and escalate. And we're showing them we're not backing down. You know, I even did a video the other day when I got stranded because the city literally locked down all the Ubers and Lyfts in the city. Nobody could get it. They told
Wow.
Uber and Lyft that they cannot accept any ride requests. So I'm all the way out of my area in Brooklyn, in another area of Brooklyn. Literally took me an hour to hour and a half to get home and so forth. But I made sure I did a Facebook Live showing people like, hey, you know what? I'm out here. You know, I was out here feeding people, but they want to try to demonize and criminalize me and brutalize me for that, and so be it. But I will not go down without a fight.
Thank you. Pause
And
for a
that's the
second,
thing
brother. Pause right there. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. You're tuned into Fly Nubian Queen TV.com. You are in the Lioness Den. This is a special time, special broadcast. We have our brother, Brooklyn City Council candidate, Anthony Beckford on the line. He is the head of Brooklyn Cop Watch. He's also the president of a non-mainstream chapter of Black Lives Matter, and he does tremendous community work and advocacy work and political work. He's also a Marine veteran, and he is talking about what it's like being out there at these protests, right? Hashtag George Floyd protests, these protests about you know, advocating for Black lives and everything like that. And we know I call this broadcast like these protests are now anti-black war protests. We are protesting, about justice for George Floyd and our sister Breonna Taylor and everyone else, but this is much bigger than that. We are at war. And at this point, we know that there are a lot of suspected white supremacists. There's NYPD who are brutalizing people. There's so many different things happening at the same time. And I want to ask you, Brother Anthony, do you think it is safe for Black parents to allow their Black children to attend these protests?
There's what we call risk levels in when these protests. So we encourage a lot of organizers. First, we tell the organizers, one, to go through the official organizers and networks throughout New York, those of us who've been doing this for ages and pushing on. But we also tell them to make sure that they do a threat level of assessment to see, so that way parents and even community members can see which ones they want to participate in. So there's low, moderate, and high risk. And the risk is based off of possibility of arrest, which all of them is always a possibility of arrest by the way that the police act. But I always tell people, if you're going to have things for the kids, look for ones that are youth marches. They can create youth marches themselves.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I was just invited to one the other day, and I spoke with the youth there, and the numbers was big, and so forth. So they out there. What they could also do is they could talk to their children first about what's going on. That's a key. Education. Talk to them about what's going on. Talk to them about why it's happening. So that way, when they come out, they're not getting this immediate traumatization. They're able to process, because that's where the trauma comes from, is not being able to process. So educate them first, then bring them outside and do it. But make sure it's low risk for the children. If you're a pregnant woman, because just it wasn't here in New York, but it was somewhere else, that they shot a pregnant woman in her stomach with a rubber bullet and so like that, and she's going through pain and complications right now. That also low risk. Moderate risk is if you're upper in the ages, or like around a teenager and so forth. And of course, adults, our elders definitely could be in the moderate and low risk. High risk means shit's about to get real. That means that the fight is going to be hard.
Right.
That means we understand by intel how they're going to come down on us, so we prepare for it. That means that there's going to be a lot of running. There's going to be a lot of evading arrest. There's going to be a lot of de-arrest. People are going to be fighting back.
Got it. That happens.
We have to make sure
Anthony,
understand,
that happens a lot at nighttime. At nighttime, that's when I'm seeing a lot of the conflict happen with law enforcement. I've seen some daytime stuff too, but the last couple nights, it's really that, people are being brutalized at night. So I wouldn't recommend that children be out there after dark.
No, like any action that's 6 p.m. on, if it's not a vigil, like vigils could be 6 p.m., 7 p.m. If it's not a vigil that's after 6 or 7 p.m., then it's not advisable for children. If it's a vigil, then yes, children could go because usually that's candlelight. There's people just expressing their grievances and stuff like that. If it's a direct action, and they will say direct action, like tonight we have the FTP March #4 that shut down the city the past 3 times. Then we're talking about complete shutdown. FTP March #4 that's going to actually be in the Bronx and stuff like that.
Got it. Let me tell you something else.
If you're afraid to get arrested, you don't want to be brutalized, don't come out.
For sure. If you're afraid to get arrested and afraid to be brutalized, don't come out. Another thing is, it's just not the NYPD. I mean, it's suspected white supremacists and other types of terrorists out there. We saw what's going on with the looting. I will tell you that at one night, I was standing out, we were standing out and about to leave one of these demonstrations, and a group of white folk were driving in a car and damn near ran through the crowd driving where I was standing. Can you talk about some of these terroristic acts that we also need to be on the lookout for? It's not just coming from folks in uniform.
Exactly. So just to clarify real quick. So there's two type of what they call riots. There's the ones that Martin Luther King speaks of, which is the riot is the voice of the unheard. That's the black people who had enough of enough, and they literally will target symbols of capitalism, which leads to our oppression and racism. I'm A-okay with that. I salute that. But then there's those with their own agenda who are infiltrators. And these are white people who are not there for support. These are white people who have this agenda. And a lot of them have been exposed to be a part of this white nationalist group called Identity Europa. And, we've ran out a lot of them. We've handled a lot of them. But there's many of them out there. And these are right-wingers. These are white nationalists, white supremacists, whatever you want to call these racist bastards. They're out here to infiltrate, to escalate the brutality from the police against us, but also to destroy our communities as well. And, we put a mandate out here, especially in Brooklyn, for all businesses to put up that they're a black-owned business. Because anytime you see anybody, and even if we're in the black community, you see any of these fools go towards that black business, you know who they are, and you are to handle them by any means necessary. You are to handle them to protect your people and protect our businesses. And then you also have those who are not trying to infiltrate, who are just blatantly saying, screw y'all, I'm going to do my part. While everybody's focused on this, I'm going to plot and plan to cause maximum damage, running cars through crowds, scared off protesters, or like that white supremacist did, where he aimed the titanium tip arrow at black protesters and then tried to lie to the media saying that somebody hit him through his open car when he was plainly out, when the video showed he was plainly out his car aiming and shooting them at them and so forth. Protect your people at all costs. This is what I tell our people.
Thank you.
Protect your people at all costs, because they're out here, they have an agenda, and we have to disrupt that foundation of their white supremacy and their so-called privilege.
Thank you so much. The other thing I do want to say as well is that we're just seeing more and more of these things, happen around the country. I saw a video of like a little girl who got hit in the head with a rubber bullet. I saw, another black boy who was peacefully out there protesting, and a cop pulled down his face mask and just pepper sprayed him. You have any comments on that?
Yeah, these are terroristic tactics. The law enforcement are the domestic terrorists within our communities. And like I tell these brothers out here who want to rep sets and rep blocks that are not even theirs, if you really about it, if you truly about it, if you this so-called gangster, go out here and protect your people, protect our youth from these terrorists out here, and stop killing our fellow soldiers, because we're losing numbers due to that. If you really want to rep some sets, rep that melanin, rep that blackness, because they out here doing all type of acts, and we're not seeing no responses except from those who are on the streets putting in the work. Now I need y'all to step out here and do that work as well too, because if not, to stay the hell out of our damn way as we push through for our liberation.
Right. Pause, Anthony. Hold on. Now, as you're talking, there are some MAGA trolls, we understand, or whoever, right? Bots, whatever it is, trying to distract the conversation and steal people's attention. If you're in the lioness den, remember, we ignore them. The mods will take care of it. Stay focused on the topic and stay on point. Let's stay on code. All right, brother, you can continue. Oh, and also I need everyone who is tuned in to make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the like button right now. Thank you.
And just to clarify to these white supremacists out there, you know, and I made my message very clear, you know, before, and even when we went against the Bikers for Trump, when we went against you know, these other white nationalist groups, and they learned to taste these hands and so forth. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. So whatever your mammy and your pappy taught you, please realize that it's not the truth. Because trust me, they try to lie to us about our history, but many of us, we educated ourselves. And they'll lie to you about your privilege, thinking that you're going to come across some docile people that would accept the beatings. No, it's not going to happen. Because when Cap took a knee, that right there was your time to shut up and listen and do what you're supposed to do. But what you did in return, y'all took y'all knees and modern day lynched the brother. And this is not the first time that y'all done that.
Right. And another one happened the other day in Florida. Did you see that? The one in Florida, the cop, yeah, exactly. A cop arrested someone, a brother, and kneed him and I think that was yesterday or the day before. How do you address that?
Yeah, exactly. So put it like this. As a black man, a black father, a black soldier in these streets, we will fight back. We will assist our people. We will protect our people as much as we can, as fast as we can. And to the people who are supporting, and I'm going to commend the ones who were out there the other day with us on Bedford and Church of Bedford and Snyder and so forth. Those who came out to support, those who are non-black came out to support. When I gave the command to lock up and protect black bodies, many of them did. And I appreciate them for that. Those who refuse to do that, we see your privilege. And you're not allowed in our spaces at all. And you need to check your privilege at the door, because your privilege is not worth more than our black lives. And if you think that we are for 1 second going to back down and be silenced, I gotta tell you, you're greatly mistaken. We are at war to protect our lives. We are at war to protect our future generations that are coming up. We're trying to make sure that they do not have to go through this. Because the whole MAGA mentality is a disease. You got the COVID virus and you got the racist virus. We've been dealing with that virus for 400 plus years. That virus has tried to separate us as black people based off of where we were born and where we live. No longer would that happen. This movement is now worldwide, where you see it in Pakistan. You see it now in New Zealand. Matter of fact, even Lagos got it going on right now. We are here. We are here. We are strong, and we will not stop.
Facts. Thank you. So yeah, a lot of parents are anxious. They want their children. You know, we should allow our youth opportunities for them to participate and get engaged within this movement. You know what I'm saying? And that shows a lot of agency. But you don't know the amount of calls and questions and text messages that I've gotten from parents who are just really, really nervous. So can you speak as a parent to, you know, black boys and black girls, a parent of black boys and a parent of black girls too?
Yeah, so put it like this. So there's been actions, like I said, based on the risk level that I've taken my daughter to, and she's been not that. You know, she was out there during the nail salon protest.
And tell them how old she is.
She's 8 years old right now.
She's a sweetie.
You know, about to be 9 in February.
Oh my gosh.
So the nail salon protest, she was 6, 7 years old.
Yeah, you know? She was.
So she was out there yelling power to the people, doing the chants. She was out there marching with us. You know, even now her mindset is still open. Her eyes are open. Her mind is open. Her soul is open to what's going on. But I also know there's certain things that I do out here that she cannot be involved in due to the risk factor. So when we had a march the other day that took over the whole of Flatbush, I made sure the march came down our block and for her to look out the window so that way she could experience it from there based on the risk level. So sometimes the parents just going to have to look through the windows with their children and show them what's going on and explain to them, educate them on it as well. Sometimes they may need to be across the street from the action too. If you feel nervous about it, then stay across the street with your child so that way you know that at some point in time y'all are safe and y'all have a quick exit plan out if need be. because we can't guarantee anything when we're dealing with race soldiers out here that their only agenda is to try to keep our people in line by any means.
Thank you.
So we have to make sure that they stay protected. So definitely use your due diligence, and don't and it's natural to be scared. It's natural to be nervous. Trust me. While we're out there, we're nervous as well too. We scared too. That's why we're fighting back. But definitely use your due diligence.
Thank you. I have 2 more questions, and I'm gonna let you go, brother, because I know you have an action that you need to get to. One, on my last broadcast this week, I made an announcement to women about women and children. You know what I'm saying? So there's certain times, like, sisters might have to take a step back and let the brothers, the warriors, the soldiers, handle it. Do you have any advice on that in terms of women being out there protected or unprotected in terms of male presence?
All right. So to the brothers out there, we got to protect our queens. We got to protect our queens. There was a video the other day where an officer launched this black woman. And I was pissed off because nobody ran up to address the situation. And I reflected on times where we've had to put our bodies on the line because they were aiming mainly at a black woman. Because Malcolm X said himself, the black woman is the most disrespected woman in the world. And we have to make sure that we protect our queens. And we also have to make sure that we do not silence them, that we do not try to hold them back, because their voices have to be heard as well too. Because just because this was sparked due to what happened to George Floyd, that doesn't dismiss what happened to Breonna Taylor, India Kager, Corinne Gaines, Chantel Davis, and Sandra Bland, and so many others who have lost their lives due to police violence. We have to make them be heard. We have to make sure that they have this platform and secure that platform for them, so that way they can amplify their voices. But then we also, when we see that threat towards them, we have to make sure we stand front and center and protect them. We must protect the mothers of the movement. We must protect them. We must protect the queens of this movement. Without them, there's no us. And they've led many movements. And we need to realize that. We have to realize that and not go by the teachings of these white nationalists where they try to make it seem that women need to be docile. No, I was raised by strong women, and I support strong women out here, and I make sure that their voices are heard, and we have to do the same.
Thank you. Final question. Speak to tactical things that we need to be doing and thinking about when we're out there, especially when we go out there in groups, whether it be with our family members or with our friends. How should we be moving through these crowds and through these protests, given, this anti-black war? What should we be doing tactically from a military standpoint to make sure that we stay together and that we're defending ourselves and each other?
Always keep a line of sight. Keeping a pair of twos or fours. Don't give them too much of a target. Keeping a line of sight. If you're an elder, please stay in the center or stay in the back. If there's police presence on both the front and the back, stay to the side, so that way you can make a quick exit. So forth goes with those who don't want to risk arrest. Those are our black people who are undocumented as well too. Also, there's tactics for tear gas and rubber bullets. The signs that we hold are also shields. When they start shooting, you put them, you either just hold it in front of you, or you tuck it underneath your clothing, so that way it doesn't give you the high impact of that rubber round. Mm-hmm. When it comes to tear gas, soak your bandana, soak your mask with water, so that way it adds as an added filter. Make sure you carry antacid, not any of the flavored ones, the regular ones. The more likely the powder ones with bottles of water. Mix those together, flush out your eyes, and flush out mainly your face with those, flush out your eyes with water. Milk, you could do that, but it's just a protesting while milk is used so often. When it comes to marching, do not follow a march down a dead end street, because either somebody is setting you up, or they just not logistically savvy, and they just basically put you in a trap. And I've seen that happen in D.C.
Yes.
And I'm happy.
I was there.
To that ally who actually opened his door and allowed 100 people to come in. Like,
Yeah.
yo, shout out to him. Yo, salute to him, man.
Oh, I was, excuse me for a second, I misspoke. I wasn't there for that because the march was being led from the White House on Monday night, and a lot of people ended up staying in people's houses. What I saw was, I believe it was on Friday, we were down by Lafayette Park, before they tagged F. Donald Trump on the old Freedmen's Bureau Bank. The march was led right there into that building, and then they got rushed by Secret Service and stuff, and some people got even knocked unconscious, but their backs were pinned up against the wall. It was really nowhere for them to run. So you make a really, really great point. You can continue.
Yeah. So when that happens, and for organizers who are listening, that's when you call them white bodies to the front and have them push, and that's their job. Have them push back so the black bodies can reach safety. Once them white bodies start pushing, this ain't the time to be on Facebook Live trying to get them views up, people. That's the time for your ass to run and get out of that area and regroup. Because when you move like water, and this is why I salute the protesters in Hong Kong, when you move like water, it is hard for them to actually pick a location up on you. Except you cannot stay too long in the area. When you going down the street, pick one-way streets that are where the traffic is coming against you, because that limits their vehicles from being able to come up behind you and try to plow you down or try to set up so that way they could then deploy themselves and so forth. When you see
they cut our brother out. You see that? Our brother has been cut out. Wow. You're in the lioness den. We talking real facts. I'm going to try to call him back. But in the meantime, I need everyone to make sure you hit that like button. You are right here live and direct on FlyNubianQueenTV.com, the network for melanated women like you. Make sure you text the word Queens with an S to 31996. That's Queens to 31996. Make sure you also hit that notification bell and that subscribe button. I need to see those likes go up while I'm getting my brother back on the phone. You see how the enemy works.
hello?
Yeah, Black Power. You just got cut off. It was like static, and then it was like, but continue on to what you're saying.
Yeah, they work and try to silence the people.
Oh, yeah.
But, but when you see the tear gas cannons get launched, if there are those street cones, cover them with the street cones, douse them with water. Cover them with a cloth if you can, douse them with water. Another tactic that we've seen that has been working, carry those mini fans with you. Go to the dollar store, wherever, get the mini fans so that way you can help blow it back. If you're marching and you're realizing that you're marching into the wind, make sure that you strategize yourself to have it to where when the police blow, you're in front, but the wind is blowing away from you. Because in that way, the tear gas will not affect you.
Okay.
These are various things. These are the various things we can do. Also, stay hydrated, because we will burn out quick, and we do not need people dropping, because we cannot leave anybody behind, because they will take the opportunity to brutalize those bodies down limp right at that moment.
Yes.
And watch out for each other. Watch out for each other. Communicate if y'all can on apps like Signal and so forth, because those apps are protected. This is why you even see elected officials, they don't talk on anything but BlackBerries, because the BlackBerry is the original security protocol type phone that, iPhone and them, y'all can talk to them if y'all want, but I highly suggest that y'all don't put out sensitive information via that. Do it in secret and private chats as well, too. If y'all got to do droplets to organize stuff, then do that as well, because we gotta keep them on their feet, because they're not made for this. They're not made for the long run.
Okay, final thing. And I think people were just kind of confused. Our brother is not saying that you should bring your babies to these things. He's actually saying the opposite. He gave criteria about the types of events that youth can go to and participate in to advocate for, but he's definitely not saying like bring your children out onto the battlefield. So I wanted to clarify that. The final thing that I did want to say is, what should people do before they leave the house when they're going out there to these sorts of these anti-Black war protests? In the case of them getting arrested, what information should they have? What should they do to prepare for that, just in case?
Find out your local legal aid or NLG organization that's out there. They're usually the people you see with yellow hats that says National Lawyers Guild. Look them up online. I believe it's NLG.org. But if not, just Google National Lawyers Guild. Look for the chapter that's in your area. Get their number. take a Sharpie and write that number down
On your
on
arm.
your arms and on your legs, and if need be, on the inner parts of your clothing, so that way, if you do happen to get arrested, you can call them for free and get representation right away, and also let them know, because they document who's been arrested and what happened, so that way they can continue with their lawsuits against the federal government, state government, and local governments for these acts of brutality and so forth. Next thing also, make sure you have water with you. Do not bring jewelry with you. I tell a lot of people, make sure you have a calling card with you, but if you have quarters, bring a couple of those with you, because they will allow you to keep anything below $100. Have that change so that we can make calls to family and friends. If you know that you may be arrested that night and you have a pet or you have a child, arrange pet care, arrange child care, and so forth. If you have to work the next day, call out that day for the next day. Get your sick day in for that day, so that way you don't end up losing your employment as well. And stay calm. I understand there's times where we do freak out and it's a natural response, but stay calm as much as possible, because a lot of times there's going to be questions asked to you by those who are with you that you need to answer when it comes to information. They're going to ask you your first name, your last name, your date of birth, and an emergency contact number. Make sure that you stay alert, so that way you can get that information out there, but also so that way you can keep a visual of what's going on around you, so that way you could document it yourself when it comes time for you, pressing a civil lawsuit, so forth. And while you're interacting with these officers, do a mental note, or even take pictures, or even write down their names and their badge numbers. And a lot of times they may try to cover it up, which they're not supposed to try to cover up. Even just put a blatant description, that's cool, because then that even increases the likelihood of the severity of the lawsuits and the human rights violation suits against that locality as well.
Great. Excellent. Thank you for your time. Everyone give our brother Anthony Beckford a digital round of applause. You can find him and support him at anthonybeckford.nationbuilder. What is it? anthonybeckford.nationbuilder.com. Go ahead and tell us how we can contact you. Also, your social media, please.
On Twitter, I am two Twitters. Personal Twitter, Vote for Beckford. That's vote, the number 4, BECKFORD. You can also catch me at BLM Brooklyn on Twitter. On IG, I'm Anthony Beckford, the number 4, City Council, and also Black Lives Matter BK on Facebook. It's the same as the IG, Anthony Beckford for City Council, and also Black Lives Matter BK.
Awesome. Thank you so much, brother. We'll be praying for you, sending you some vibes of health and strength. Let us know your report from being out there today, and I will definitely be checking in with you probably, by tomorrow or something, because we keep in contact. All right. So we want to thank you so much for your time, and thanks for coming back into the Lioness Den. All right. Peace, brother.
Thanks for having me.
All right. You're welcome. So y'all heard it. Y'all heard it from our brother. Thank you all so much for tuning into FlyNubianQueenTV.com, the network for melanated women like you. You are in the Lioness Den. I'm Jade Arendelle, aka Lioness Crowned, your revolutionary, unapologetically Black African host right here at FlyNubianQueen.com, the network for melanated women like you. Make sure you go over and you follow our content on our Facebook page. We also are on iTunes. We are on iTunes at Fly Nubian Queen. Also, make sure you text the word Queens with an S to 31996. That's Queens to 31996. Now, take a moment and just breathe. Let's take a moment and breathe collectively and think about what we just heard. It's heavy out there, y'all. This stuff ain't real, right? So there is so many jewels dropped in this one broadcast. Parents, I'm gonna need you to play this for your children. And I also see 222s in the chat room, by the way. But you need to send this broadcast to your children, especially if you have, teenagers and young adults. This is what we're up against, and these are the types of things that we need to be thinking about and doing while we're out there going to these sorts of protests, okay? So you can go back through this broadcast and check all of that out. My recommendation, a lot of you in the chat would agree with me, small children just need to be at home. Unless it's like a rally or something that's youth-led or focused on youth early in the day, like around noon or something, hosted by like a youth organization or something like that, there is still a risk involved, what our brother was saying, but the risk is very, very small, you know, versus some of these larger marches and events that are happening at nighttime. Okay, and we definitely do not condone any violence, any unprovoked violence, I would say. We definitely don't condone any looting or rioting or any of that violent attacking behavior. I need to make sure that I say that. Those are my principles. That's how I live anyway. But, you know, in no way am I saying to go out and loot and riot. We definitely don't. We definitely don't want our children in that sort of situation. This is the reason why I'm doing this broadcast. And, you know, as Black parents, I understand like the level of anxiety and the fear, because all we're seeing is brutality. We're seeing Black people being brutalized. We are seeing Black folk rising up. I'm very, very proud, and defending themselves as well, because self-defense is intelligence, as Malcolm X would say. Now, I wanted to make sure I put this broadcast out because a lot of folks, especially if this is your first time going to a protest or events like this, marches like this, with a heavy sort of topic where it involves defending Black life and speaking out against the entire corrupt system, there are always risks involved. And this is the first time in history where so many people have risen up and this sort of an uprising in modern times in the United States. Thank you so much for your generous contribution to Fly Nubian Queen. We really appreciate you Texas Zone. Thank you. So what I'm saying is there are a lot of folks who are for the first time getting involved in this way and going out there and taking action, or wanting to be in solidarity with other Black people in order to replace the system of anti-Black racism and violence, white supremacy, with a system of justice and Black empowerment. And because there's so many people who are new to this, who haven't really been out there at these sorts of events before, I would hate to see any of our people be blindsided and really not know what to do in order to prepare for that physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and legally, right, in every way. And so this is critical that this broadcast is shared. This is critical that this broadcast is shared, and it is critical that we pass this on to our children and to the youth. And with that said, I am going to refresh. I'm going to refresh the comments that you all have here, and I want to see what you all are talking about. And I'm going to remind you all where you are. You are in the Lioness Den. I'm Jade Arundel, aka Lioness Crowned. I am here on FlyNubianQueenTV.com, normally on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So let's see what we're saying. Thank you for my mods. Thank you so much, Duel. Thank you, Tylene, for being in here. Thank you, Black Dude TV. I see all of y'all. I see Lion in the house as well. I see so many of you all from around the country. I want you all to let me know, have you all been out there participating in any of these sorts of protests or actions that are happening around your city or your neck of the woods? What has been your experience? Please type that into the chat. I definitely do want to read your comments today. And as you all are doing that, oh, I really appreciate you too, Jay Parrish. I do want to say that I did go out yesterday, right? I went out yesterday, which is why I was not in the Lioness Den yesterday on Wednesday at 12 p.m. because I wanted to go and make some observations on my own, additional observations on my own at a different time of day, so that I can come back and report back to you. I don't want to, just start rambling about something that I don't know. I know that the likelihood of children or young adults participating in these sorts of things would happen earlier in the day. So I made it my business to go out there with someone to make some observations. I did a quick live on that yesterday. You all can go over and find that on our Facebook page. This is why you need to be subscribed to our Facebook page. You need to text the word Queens with an S to 31996. But I did see that there were a lot of groups out there they had packed like care packages with water, food, granola bars, and things to really sustain the energy levels and the hydration of the protesters by the White House. And there were, the protests were pushed further back away from the White House in Lafayette Park than they ever were before. They're clearly not anywhere near that church. I think it's called St. Gabriel's Church, in which like some looters or some protesters went in and started a fire in the basement on Sunday night. Sunday night was horrific. I must say that. Horrific in the sense that there was a lot of people there for the right reasons, and there were a lot of people who were there not for the right reasons. We know what we are doing. We are speaking out against injustice. We are speaking out and advocating for justice in reaction to severe crimes against humanity, in specific or particularly anti-Black crimes against humanity, against our group. That's why we were there. We were there in the spirit of our sister Breonna Taylor. We were there in the spirit of our brother Ahmaud Arbery. We were there in the spirit of our sister Sandra Bland. We were there in the spirit of our sister Pamela Turner. We were there in the spirit of our brother George Floyd, and many others that we can name, and so many others, unfortunately, that we cannot name. That's why we were there. But there were a lot of terrorists in the mix. And we're not just seeing that in DC or in New York, we're seeing that as a pattern around the country. And so that's why it's really, really important for us to have these sorts of conversations, okay? So we have to really stay focused on where our agenda is, and we really, really do need to be on guard for these things. And so with that said, I decided to go and check out the scene yesterday since, 45 the Antichrist, aka Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States of America, threatened to use, overtake, police forces or to use military, the U.S. military, in places where these protests continue to stop if they don't quell the protests, right? So a lot in the world has changed since, the weekend or last week when I visited several times, just to kind of report back to you all as a journalist on FlyNubianQueen.com. And what I did notice yesterday was there were a lot of, I guess you can say, allies there, or people who appear to be allies. A lot of folks in the LGBT community, a lot of white LGBT people in particular were present. There were a lot of journalists there, of course. I did see some younger children. I saw a lot of white children there, actually. I saw MAGA supporting suspected white supremacist woman who I filmed, who was harassing protesters from her wheelchair, and she had some signs up and she was saying and doing really egregious things, and white people were really annoyed with her and just kind of shaking their heads or feeling embarrassed for her. So that was happening. There were definitely military soldiers in different, I think maybe different branches of a military, or I just can't really tell, couldn't really identify them, but a lot of them were dressed differently. And then you definitely had military police, and then also DC Metropolitan Police that were present. I did see some young people there. I did see a handful of younger people. When I say younger people, I mean tweens or teens. Okay, so I saw them there. That was probably the most I'd seen probably since Friday afternoon, which really wasn't safe because there were several situations happening with the crowd, and there was commotion. So, my recommendation is to keep the babies at home. And my recommendation is also going to be, when it gets really, really tense and things are out of control, our sisters may need to also take cover and fall back. I'm observing white women out there with white men. Okay, so there are a lot of, I rarely see white women out there alone, or when I say alone, just by themselves. They're usually in groups, just to make a comparison. And I'm seeing a lot of white men in the mix around them to protect them in the event of anything. I'm seeing less Black men also out there with sisters or going as groups. So that's something that I would, we need to encourage. Protect the Black woman at all costs. Somebody type that in: protect the Black woman at all costs. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing. So let me take a look at your comments right quick. Romel Harris says, share, share, share. Yes, please hit that share button and make sure you hit that like button. I see a lot of y'all in the house right now. A lot of you all are tuned into the Lioness Den. Also, I want to remind you all, as your comments are coming through about this topic, make sure you go over to our shop at shopfnq.com. That's shopfnq.com. I'm going to take a sip of some tea that I'm having today. Make sure you visit our shop at shopfnq.com. There's a lot of new merchandise over there. Make sure you support our Buy Black initiative. Okay. All right, y'all are saying good point. Protect the Black woman at all costs. Absolutely. Y'all are echoing that. Somebody said Agent Orange. Jay Paris says, yes, I've seen videos with whites dressed out in all black doing chaos. Absolutely. Another thing that I have noticed is that I'm seeing more white people than ever before with t-shirts on that say Black Lives Matter. Another thing that my folks and I observed yesterday before and after going to this event was that a lot of businesses in the area are putting up signs that say Black Lives Matter, or they are painting murals to say Black Lives Matter. And so that makes me raise the question, are they just putting up, and these are not Black owned businesses, by the way, these are businesses run and led, owned and operated by a lot of gentrifiers and supported by a lot of gentrifiers. I am wondering if these businesses are putting up Black Lives Matters posters and stickers all around is because they think that messaging or signage is supposed to, or is going to, keep away people who may loot them. I don't know, but it really seemed interesting and really inauthentic to me. Another thing that I'm seeing is entire businesses are shut down. CVS pharmacies, Duane Reade pharmacies, a lot of pharmacies and things are completely closed and boarded up. And a lot of businesses are boarded up with plywood. Thailand says I don't trust them. I don't either. But I just wanted to make sure you all knew what my observations are and like what my skepticism is in terms of the Black Lives Matter t-shirts being worn by white folk, and then also it being painted on murals and stickers and stuff all over the place. I think it's probably like a psychological like play on emotions, like, hey, we're an ally, we support Black people, don't come over here, don't loot us, don't attack us, like we don't have anything to do with that. Well, you may not be like an outright terrorist or white supremacist in that way, but they all benefit from the history in this country and the white privilege that comes along with being white and being in America. So we cannot forget that part, y'all. We cannot forget that part. Those are some observations. I have not seen a lot of Black children out, maybe a handful here and there, but maybe on the outskirts. These things, usually when people gather, there's a lot of, people kind of hanging out and stuff in the perimeter. So that's what I saw. Philippians 4:13, Tanya T put in. Can somebody look up Philippians 4:13 and paste it in the comments for me, please? I was actually reading, I was telling our sister Vicky Dillard earlier today that I had finished Revelation chapters 7 and chapter 8 after I saw a post that she put up. And I think her post was from like Revelation 16 or something like that. But yeah, these are really, really, really interesting times. Oh, okay, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Thank you, Dual. Why didn't I know that? Philippians 4:13. That's the scripture. Yeah, we definitely can. And this is not a time to be afraid. Okay, let me not say that, because there's always fear in this situation or not. The point is using tools to make sure that you don't allow your fear to overtake you or conquer you. And that's what our brother, Brooklyn City Council candidate Anthony Beckford, just told us. Like, the fear part is natural, but you don't let it cripple you or make you freeze. Like, this is where there's fear, that's where you go even harder. Everyone hit that like button right quick on the count of 3. Hit the like button. 1, 2, 3, and thank you. But where there's fear, you work harder, and you use the tools that you have, and you use your spiritual strength and your strength of mind, your fortitude. That's why I'm always using the word fortitude. Use your fortitude to balance out that fear with courage. Okay, this is not the time to be overly emotional or reactionary. Somebody type that in. This is not the time to be overly emotional or reactionary. Meaning, if you're out, for instance, okay, let's say you're not even outside attending any of these protests, right? These peaceful protests, rather, because I'm clear, I am a peaceful protester. First and foremost, I am a peaceful protester, and that's how I carry and conduct myself. But even if you're at home watching the news or scrolling through social media, this is not the time to allow your emotions to get triggered to the point where you're constantly reacting to the brutality and the evil and the injustice and the oppression. You notice it, you take note, you know what's going on, you filter out that sort of content, you stay balanced mentally, spiritually, and physically, and you go to work in terms of creating solutions, thinking about policy, thinking about and being the solution. That's what we need. We are in this for the long haul. This is not ambulance activism. This isn't something that we just, if we're constantly chasing our tails and reacting to every single thing that's happening negatively, then it's draining, and then nothing ever gets done. So, and then you're also being controlled by the things that are causing you to react repeatedly. This is critical. This is critical. So, like I mentioned, I saw a video coming out of Florida where some pig took his knee while he arrested some brother on the ground, and he put his knee on his head. They're going to do that. Now, are we upset? Do we want justice, for that brother in response to that officer? Yes, absolutely. But I'm not going to go out off on a flying rage every time I see something like that or learn about it, because then I would never get anything done. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? If you understand what I'm saying, give me some fire emojis right quick. Because I hope I'm not, I could be preaching to the choir, but I feel like we need to remind ourselves of this. Thank you, KG from LA. Thank you, Shirley Baker. Thank you, Jesse. Mick. Thank you, Romel. Okay, so we get it, right? Have your emotions, have your feelings, and then quickly switch, flex. Thank you, Eris, Roxy. Thank you, T, and everybody else who's giving me flames right now in the chat. We need to be focusing on things in the long term, okay? Now, city budgets are still up, or listen, cities work for a long time on budgets. For example, I had a meeting where I was talking to some brothers and sisters, and we were discussing, a mayor's city budget, right? And what it would look like, and like opportunity areas of what we need to negotiate and or testify at on these public hearings about the city budget. But now that this COVID happened and now this crisis is going on, this anti-Black war is really, really waging, and some of us are under martial law or different phases of martial law, and the trillions of dollars in damage that the economy is sustaining right now due to the loss of jobs and everything and COVID, in addition to this anti-Black war, then those entire budgets have to shift. There are going to be new problems to solve. Children may not be in schools in the same way, and education may not function the same way as it did before when the budgets were written. For example, follow me. Now there are new things that we need to advocate for, right? Instead of like, and now that there are police departments like the Minneapolis Police Department who are losing their contracts with public school systems, right? Well, if they're losing their contract with public school systems in Minneapolis, for example, then who is going to come in and do school safety? What agencies or who's going to do the school safety? And is there an opportunity to direct some of that money that was going into policing and paying these pigs to police our children in schools? Can't that money go into programs and stuff for restorative justice? These are the types of things that need to be written into these budgets. These are the types of conversations that we need to be having. This is the focus that we need to be on. Yes, we resist. We resist and we denounce the anti-Black racism because we know that we are in an anti-Black war, but we're not being just attacked on one front, which is why keeping your head on and your emotions and staying focused and staying in your area of expertise in your lane so that you can contribute to being solution oriented is key. But if we are constantly out being dragged around, allowing people to drag our emotions around and completely like hyperstimulate us and trigger us, then we're not going to get anything done. If we keep having conversations about things that are divisive within our racial group that really don't matter, it makes it also harder to get the things done. So at this point, we need to really commit. It's like, what side are you on? You trying to end this anti-Black war and replace it with a system of justice and get some Black empowerment, or nah? Y'all let me know. Yes. You can put some flames emojis in the comments, and if you are no, you can get the hell up out the lioness den. And just to remind you, I'm Lioness Crowned right here on FlyNubianQueenTV.com, FlyNubianQueen.com, the network for melanated women like you and some brothers like you. Thank you. I see y'all putting those things in. Thank you. All right. Now, with that said, we're going to end this broadcast pretty quickly. We have a lot of things that need to get done. Again, we have meetings to do. There's elections that are still coming up, local elections, people who need to be on advisory commissions, and different things like that. We got, judges, you know, that could be appointed and or elected with these elections happening around the country. We have a lot of activism and advocacy to do within our community. How is the prison population doing right now? Anybody talk to brothers and sisters on the inside? What's that looking like? You know what I'm saying? Well, Brother Denubian said vote for what? I'm just explaining it. If you don't understand me or my brand, then you know, people are talking about, and this is where the rhetoric can get really, really dangerous. We're not, everything is not linear. It's not like this side of the coin or that side of the coin. There's, look at things holistically. Let's not think of like Europeans here. Now, we're talking about presidential election and presidential politics. That's just one race. That's just one thing. When we're talking about who the mayor, or who's going to be your city council member, or who's going to be a judge elected to the bench, and who's going to serve in different roles of like public advocate and other things like that, then you telling me that we're not going to that you shouldn't participate in the voting process? Oh, okay, Brother Denubian, my bad. I ain't trying to pop off on you, but I'll pop off quick. But that's just an example to say that we need to make sure that we are looking at these things properly and putting everything within its proper context. And if we are chasing, you know, these linear arguments, or if we're going around in circles about things that actually don't produce any results, then we're all guilty in prolonging this anti-Black war and then therefore participating in it. So what I'm saying is we all have to get on code. We got to get focused and make sure we keep the work going. Let's keep the work going. And we need to also uplift and educate our children. We need to really be supporting our children. They're going through a lot of things psychologically right now. Think about it. You know, when you're a child, when you're really young, and especially when you're a teenager, a part of your educational process is learning, you know, it's socialization. It's figuring out who you are as a young person coming of age in relation to your peers, in relation to how you understand the world, in relation to your parents and your family, and music, like every single thing. And there's been a lot of isolation for months and a lot of tragedy and trauma back to back to back. COVID-19, a whole bunch of people get sick and dying. Some of our young people have lost folks in their families. They're not allowed to go to school and socialize in their friend groups. There's been social distancing, right? There's viral images of these lynchings of Black men and Black women online, right? And reminding them that, like, hey, we are living in a system of apartheid, of anti-Black racism and war, and no one's prepared you to have that conversation a lot of times for a lot of our children who didn't grow up in households or don't have that cultural, that level of historical and cultural, you know, support and identity support. So there's a lot of different problem areas that need to be solved. And I just want to know that if y'all are going to rock with me, if y'all going to be here and, you know, support what we're doing over here at flynubianqueen.com, I need to know that, like, we're committed. You're committed to also doing the work. A lot of people will, I don't promote my social media. A lot of people will try to friend me or reach out to me on social media. Listen, I don't need followers. I don't need followers. You know what I'm saying? I need soldiers. We need soldiers out here. And I want to know who's ready to do the work and who's not ready to do the work. So y'all figure that out. Y'all let me know. I'll be back again tomorrow in the Lioness Den, Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. We have some really, really special guests. We have some special guests. You don't want to miss it. We have some special guests. That's all I'm going to say. Make sure you are subscribed to Fly Nubian Queens right here on YouTube. Also, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share this broadcast. Check out the rest of our queens over on Facebook. Please, we are doing tremendous work. And this is a lot of energy work. And we're doing this from our hearts because we ride for our people. So please go over and support all of the queens. Also, make sure you check out our business programming. And let's really work on some self-determination and Black empowerment in that sense. Financial freedom. Go over to flynubianbusiness.com. That's flynubianbusiness.com and check out what we have going on over there. And again, support our Black initiatives by supporting our products at shopfnq.com. That's shopfnq.com. Shout out to those of you all who came into the Lioness Den today. And you know that are signed up on our text messaging list. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks for your energy. Thanks for your courage. Thanks for your bravery. Thanks for your spirit and your good vibes. Let's make sure we stay on code and on guard. And with that, I'm going to say that this broadcast is ending, but so is global racism and white supremacy. We will and we must trample and defeat this beast through fortitude, preparedness, and collectivism. And always remember that they stole us, they sold us, so they owe us. And until next time, family, peace and Black power.